Can you go from being a stay-at-home dad to opening your own retail store? What would a store just for dads sell? How exactly does a store become part of the community? What do you do when the men's room doesn't have a changing table for your baby? This is the Dad Time Podcast. Welcome to the second episode of the Dad Time Podcast. On today's show, we have Don Hudson, who started a store for dads called Seahorses in Portland, Oregon. His store specializes in selling products specifically for dads and their kids. From babies and toddlers to older kids, Seahorses carries products that are high quality and also functional. Don's a stay-at-home dad who previously worked repairing elevators and also as a cook. He opened Seahorses because he heard one too many times that he was simply a babysitter. Open about a year and a half, Seahorses is now becoming a central part of the community in Portland. Not only does his store sell items, but it's also a place where dads and their kids can come play together. In his store, he also hosts several social events, including toddler dancing and a dad's night. Don, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, Don, tell me, how did you get the idea for the store? Was there an epiphany moment that you had, or where did this concept come from?
Well, the concept kind of started probably about 23 years ago in its infancy when I was a part-time parent for my oldest child. And I had my daughter for 2 or 3 weeks in sometime in the middle of rural Wyoming. And man, you can only take a kid to ice cream so many times. I really wish there was a place I could go with her.
Right.
So that was kind of the beginning of it, I think. And then fast forward several years actually, and I started having kids again with my next wife, and I became a stay-at-home dad and was responsible for all the shopping, for the baby stuff or just clothes or groceries or whatever, and realized that there is a ton of microaggression out there towards dads, and that they are looked at as a secondary parent. Mom is the primary caregiver always and forever, and dad's just filling in until she can.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I started this podcast was the fact that going through family court and just being that sort of looked at as that second parent, and really just seeing how we're treated out there. But I think we're slowly turning the tide countrywide as far as the opinions of dads and our role in the family. But it's certainly slow. And I know you've been quoted as saying you were called a babysitter one too many times. Is there a story behind that?
Well, I was kinda. I mean, it happens so. It's happened so frequently. It still does when I'm out with the kids. Um, you just get tired of it. I'm like, dude, I'm not babysitting. I'm their father. I'm their
Right.
dad. Oh, look at you babysitting and giving mom a break. No, mom's at work. I've had these kids since Monday.
Right.
I need a break. Somebody take them for an hour or whatever. Um, so that's kind of where that came from.
So how long did it take you to get the store up and running?
I'm still working on it.
And the store's been open for about 2 years now, it looks like.
Been open for right at a year and a half.
A year and a half, okay.
Year and a half. I signed the lease in February, ironically, and then I opened the following June.
Okay. And so how's it been going? What's the reaction been like to the store?
Actually, it's actually been a resounding success as far as proof of concept.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people that come in are like, "Oh my God, this is great." I get stopped at the playground when I'm with my kids. I'll tell you this one story. I was at the playground with my 3 kids, and I was pushing my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old in the swing, and I was wearing my 1-year-old in a carrier. And this young lady is putting her kids in the car, and she comes up to me kind of tentatively, right? And she's like, "Excuse me, aren't you the owner of Seahorses?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, I am." As I'm like handling 3 kids.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to thank you. I said, for what? She's like, you saved my marriage. Because I gave her husband a place to go and made him feel like he was worthwhile. I gave him an opportunity to have a sense of self worth as a parent. It's my belief, and I can't really support this with too many facts, but it's my belief that men usually identify themselves as what they do.
Right.
So I'm a welder, or I am a doctor, or I am a advertisement executive. And if you don't have that as an identifier, you're lost as a guy.
Right.
It's to say I am a dad first.
What an amazing story, though. I mean, so you actually had a mom come up to you and thank you for saving her marriage. Did you ever think that your store would have that kind of impact?
No, not a chance. I was opening it just mainly so that I could talk to grown up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being home with kids all day, you really get lost in that, that kid zone, and you really need an adult to talk to, right?
Yeah, that kid language. I was walking up to Target with my little one, and they have those little concrete spheres in front of Target.
Mm-hmm.
And my boy was like, "Ball, ball." I was like, "Yeah, buddy, those all are balls." I'm like, "Oh my god, I sound like Dr. Seuss."
But that's okay. That's how our kids communicate, right?
That's true. That's true.
So why the name seahorses? I'm guessing that has to do something with the biology of seahorses but tell us a little bit why the name seahorses and were there a lot of other names that you went through before you picked seahorses?
But I had one other one that I was kicking around. I wanted to go with. I was thinking of taking doing a take on the Home Depot thing, and so I did a search on the internet. I was like, "Daddy Depot, let's see what see if this domain is available." Well, it turned out to be an old man gay porn site.
That's not good for a kid's store.
That's not going to work. So I was really at a loss. I'm like, what am I going to call this place? Because I was already in the process of signing the lease.
Right.
Um, my friend Chris Routley, who does the Sometimes You Need a Jellyfish book,
Mm-hmm.
also the president of the National At Home Dad Network. Anyway, he's a close personal friend of mine, and he said, well, why not seahorses? I was like, well, why did I think of that? Because in nature, the male seahorse is the one who gestates and gives birth and takes care of the kids. Um, to me, that was a duh moment.
When I saw your name, I just thought it was it was such an elegant solution to what you would call a store that's dad focused.
The best dads are seahorses.
That's right. So tell us a little bit more about your store. What do you sell, and how do you decide what to carry in the store, and have you changed what you sell in the store since you've opened it, that sort of thing?
Well, of course, I've had. There's been a couple of different iterations, and I'm bringing in product that some of it worked really well, some of it didn't work worth a darn. So I've had to change direction a little bit, and I realized probably about a year into it that what Seahorses needs is a much broader scope
Right.
than I had initially intended. I was initially intending it to be like a baby store.
Okay.
It came to my attention that dads have older kids too. They don't just have babies.
Sure.
So I was like, well, I guess I need to have some kids stuff too. And my kids were getting older, so I was like, well, I want to get stuff for them too. And it broadened uh, my perspective on parenting. It's like, okay, well, I need stuff for these older kids, and I find things that are really cool, really indestructible, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, other parents need to know about this stuff.
Right.
So the concept, the view, the scope of the store has changed a lot since I first opened, and the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we as a team stay very close and true to our core values, especially when determining a product, and if it has to earn a place on the shelf. I don't have a whole lot of real estate here, so each piece has to be it has to tell a story. It has to have a story. It has to have purpose and meaning behind it. And I always start with the 4 key words when I look at a product, and it's innovative, durable, functional, and fun. And if it doesn't baseline meet those 4 criteria, then I don't even consider.
Well, I think that's fantastic. You've got your core values there, and you know what they are, and your products have to meet those core values.
Absolutely.
S-
Because that's what dads want. They want men just shop differently. They approach buying differently. They're far more impulsive than women are, for one thing. But if they find something that meets a need, functional, it's got to be functional. And men in general are far more apt to purchase something that's function over form versus the other.
Yeah, I know when I'm shopping, I look at something, and if it can save me, a few minutes or an hour here or there, it's totally worth my time to buy it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Multifunctional is better.
Yeah, if it can make coffee and put the kids to sleep, that'd be perfect.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be a dream? You know, if you come up with that, we'll both make amends.
So what's your best seller currently in the store?
Oh, probably at the moment, the Yowie Baby. We just got that in very recently. If you want, I can take you around and show you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So what you said it was a yelly baby?
It's called the Yowie Baby. I'll show you
Okay.
here. I'm gonna flip the phone around so you get to see my
All
beautiful.
right.
There we go. Take you on a tour of the store here. So this is the Yowie Baby.
Okay, Yoe, like Yoee baby.
Correct.
It says
And
baby's first toy. So what
this
does this thing do?
this helps parents interact with their newborn.
Okay.
So it's got this soft feathery thing on the top, and you just touch the baby's skin with it,
Oh,
and
cool.
then the baby reacts. So it's really crucial for new parents to get some feedback from their infant, so that they are not quite as prone to postpartum depression. They have the reassurance that they're actually doing something right. You know,
It look
but
it looks like a cute puppy dog with a cross between a troll doll.
yeah, kinda. That's a lot softer than a troll doll. And it's got a teether on the bottom. It rattles. It crinkles. So this is really a toy that can grow with the kiddo. So if you move from you playing with it as the parent, and then
Right.
you have the kiddo and they play with it, it turns into a little snuggly kind of thing. I've had great response. Um, people come in and they're like, "Oh my God, this was amazing!" My husband came in and he bought such and such, or my wife told me about the store. I had to come in. I've got two employees that I hired just because they you know,
Fantastic.
hang around long enough, I'm going to put you to work.
Yeah, I know that philosophy. So, let's see. Were there any products that you have that right now that really surprised you that are good sellers that you didn't think would do well and actually turned out to be pretty good?
Um, Not really, actually, because between between me and Carrie, my store manager, yeah, that's her right over there. Hi, Carrie. Uh,
Hi.
so between me and Carrie and the rest of my staff, we really kind of pick products that resonate well.
Right.
We picked a few that we thought would do really well and just and those have been kind of a surprise.
So, is there anything that dads have brought to your attention that you started carrying because somebody asked you to?
The snap circuits were brought to my attention by a dad.
What's it called? Snap circuits?
Circuits. That's these guys. Oh, never mind. This is
Oh,
this is,
okay.
this
So
is
you
Carrie.
there we go. So you snap them together, you can make an electrical circuit.
That's correct. And each little, I don't know how well you can see it. Let me pull it over here. We've got the demo out. The demo. So you can see each component has the appropriate schematic diagram.
Sure, there's a diode there. Yep.
And there's a transistor. There's a resistor.
Resistor. Fantastic. So the kids can learn how to do electronics without having to solder things together and burn their fingers on soldering irons, right?
Exactly. And they just snap together, like literally with snaps.
Yeah, those are like snaps off of your clothes.
Right. But when it's
Fantastic.
all put together, that is an accurate representation of the schematic diagram.
Sure. Yeah, it looks just like the diagram.
So that's kind of cool. That was brought to my attention by Dad.
Awesome.
Um, I was like, oh my God, that's right. I remember having these when I was a kid. I need those.
Awesome.
So yeah, I take suggestions from uh, all kinds of direction, all kinds of input. Some of the things that I have in here this is something that's has very, very much earned its place on my shelves. And this is the shaving equipment.
Uh-huh. So yeah, you also sell things for dads, right?
Yeah, so, dads need to remember to pamper themselves, and what
Mhm.
better way to do that than a nice hot shave with the
Awesome.
hot oil and the big badger brush, the lather, and all that goes along with it. You really give yourself an experience, but it's very relaxing and
Mhm.
refreshing, and you get to recharge. Of course, dad-friendly diaper bags. This is really the catalyst for the store.
Uh-huh.
Trying to find a diaper bag that I was comfortable carrying.
Right. We didn't have pink flowers on it and look too gaudy.
Yeah, oh boy. Well, maybe you do have any idea. But that was really the catalyst. I was like, wouldn't it be nice to have something I can put my hands on? Because you
Right.
find all fine, but then you're like, well, how big is it? How it's build quality? Oh my God, it's $120. It's $170. Why is it so expensive? And then you get your hands on it. You're like, oh, well, the Timbuk2. It's got a lifetime warranty. It's
Mhm.
waterproof. It's an amazing bag. The product of the North bag. That's this one. That's the Weston. It's a brand new bag on the market, and it's just fantastic. It's the only roll top backpack diaper bag on the market.
Cool. So that brings up a good point. You when you stock things in your store, you're really looking at stocking quality items. You're not looking to just have the cheapest thing, that maybe Target or Walmart has. You want to have really good quality items.
Innovative, durable, functional, and fun. But because it's a boutique, you expect quality.
Right.
But if it's innovative and durable, that kind of defines quality in many ways. So
Sure.
innovative, like the baby change and go. That's oops, I'm looking at me again. It's this thing.
That's cool. So you hang that on a wall or a door? How does that work?
It folds up this big, right,
Okay.
and hangs on the bathroom stall wall.
Cool.
Because how many times do you go into a men's room and there's no changing table in there?
Yeah, that drove me nuts because, when my kids were little, you'd go in there and there'd be nowhere but the counter with the sinks to put your kids down on, and so you ended up,
Yeah,
you know,
the floor.
going on the floor, yeah, or trying to make do with the counter that was there. It was just horrible. But I've noticed recently a lot more bathrooms are, men's bathrooms at least have baby changing tables in them. So at least that's changing.
Slowly, nice pun. Uh,
Yeah.
slowly, surely changing. Um, Administration passed legislation requiring in the next several years in all government buildings.
Oh, cool.
And so that was kind of cool. But until then, we're still on the floor
Got
until it gets in the main.
Yep. Or unless they buy the hanging changing table, and then you're all set no matter what bathroom you go to.
There you go. Or if a business is interested in buying it, then they can make it available to their customers and their clients.
Okay.
So
Fantastic. So what's been the reaction from the dads that come into your store? Have they just been blown away or surprised?
it's a funny thing. Dads tend to react very differently,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but it's very predictable when dads come into a baby store. They're usually being drug along by their wife
Right.
because they're going to be shunted aside, you know, and just basically ignored. Mom is, I mean, granted, moms do need a lot. I don't want to take anything away from them.
Sure.
But dads tend to be overlooked, moved to the side, and say, "It's a nice comfy chair," and then they, take mom around the store and say, "Oh, you need this. This is the latest prints on that. This is the latest so and so. You need this. You need that." And dad's just like, "Oh, where do I fit? Where do I,
Right.
you know?" But it's been my experience that dads are excited about becoming a dad just as much as moms are excited about becoming a mom.
Oh, sure.
And if you can, if you can involve them as early as possible in that the well-being of that child, the more excited and the more involved they're going to be down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come into the store, it's kind of a neat shift. You can actually see a physical change in the gentleman as he's being led into the store by his wife, and then he takes a moment and looks around and realizes that it's for him.
Awesome.
He's the one taking the lead and looking at all the cute little baby stuff and diaper bags and toys and diapers and gear, and you can see him start to become visibly excited about becoming a dad, and it's really cool. It's really cool. That right there, I think, lays the foundation for an involved fatherhood. All the way to adulthood.
And you said that's predictable, huh? So just about everybody has the same reaction. That's amazing.
It's really weird. Almost everybody has that same first time parents. First time parents.
Right. Yeah,
Uh,
after you've had your second or third kid, your reaction is completely different, I'm sure.
because you got some experience under your belt.
Sure.
The old timers or veteran fathers, I like to call them, have a slightly different reaction. It's more of a oh my god, finally, kind of a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Something for dads. It's been too long in the making. So that's kind of even grandparents. I get the grandpas that come in, and actually, I had this one set of grandparents that came up. They were up here from I think Los Angeles or someplace in Southern California.
Right.
Uh, grandmother was like, she didn't. I don't think she got it. She was just like, "Why do you need a dad store?
Right.
All the work anyway." And I was like, "Well, not anymore. This day and age, more and more parents are both going part time.
Sure.
Parenting experience." And the grandfather looked at the grandmother, just tapped her on the shoulder, just like, "Hey, I wanted to do this when my kids were little, but was I allowed to? No."
Right.
I just was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna leave that one there. You guys can." So.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get in the middle of that one.
No. That would be opposite.
I for one think it's great, even just in the last 10 years, how the dad's role in society has really changed, and folks like yourself are starting businesses that are just, specifically for dads and parents, and how we're really being looked at completely differently than we were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting shift. It's kind of like it's an explosion that's happening in the last 10 years or so. My wife and I were just talking last night, and she cited a study that was done in 1996 about the extra work that moms do behind the scenes,
Right.
as far as the scheduling and the appointment setting and the PTA meetings and the this and the that. Even though they still work a 40-hour work week, and dads didn't have really any part in that.
Right.
I was like, well, that's not true in this day and
Mm-hmm.
more and more dads are also doing the scheduling. Like I go to the PTA meetings, I set up the pediatrician appointments, I do these kinds of things, um, and she schedules a few other things like the swim classes, and she's right now she's scheduling summer camps.
Mm-hmm.
So we really do kind of share in that kind of a thing, and I think that study that was done in 1996 is ever so slightly outdated and perhaps redone.
Yeah, I think a study that's that old, definitely is outdated, but it also probably has a lot of bias in it. And I know that's the bias has been sort of hard to fight over the last couple of years, but I think slowly the tides are changing.
I think the tide is definitely moving over. It's definitely moving, and the wave is pressing, and it's very exciting to be on the cutting edge of that wave.
So tell me a little bit about kids when they come into your store. Do they like being in your store? Do they enjoy it? Do they run around and have fun? I mean, I just kind of envision this place as being a place where kids kind of let loose a little bit and really enjoy it.
First thing I see is this a 4-foot giraffe,
Oh, cool.
and that giraffe has been with me since the first day I opened. So he's gotten more hugs than anybody else in the store. And they come around here and they see, dads tend to gravitate this way.
Right.
So I got the Leatherman over here. I don't know if you're going to be broadcasting the video of this or not, but you can see I got a glass case full of Leatherman, portable shot glasses, leather beer sleeves, and then the shaving equipment, the dad friendly diaper bags, and of course the diapers to go with them.
Sure.
But the kids, they approach very differently. They come in this door and they go this way, right straight back here to the ball.
Uh-huh. You got a big thing of balls there. I'm sure everybody grabs one.
Balls or the books.
Uh-huh.
And then just beyond there is the kid corral.
Oh wow, look at that! You've got a huge kid zone there where they can just go in and play and let
Absolutely.
loose.
And you got dads hanging out with their laptops, doing their work,
Oh,
and the kids in the middle. So
yeah, I love how you have a kind of a bench or bar area built all the way around the kid zone, and you've got plugs in, so you can plug in your laptop and work. That's fantastic.
that was the idea, so that you could plug in, check your email, check your Facebook, just take a 5 minute break,
Right.
breathe. But that's what the kids tend to go straight to. They love that. But we also have a lot of events here. We've got like toddler dance parties, and we've got Playwell workshops. We use Legos to teach engineering and architecture. We've got what else do we have? We have baby sign language classes,
Uh huh.
new dads meetups, uh, dads after hours. Yeah, that's probably my favorite event of the month.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about Dad After Hours, and where did that come from, and how long you've been doing it, and what's the reaction been?
Well, when I was staying at home with the kids, about once every 6 weeks or 2 months or so, involved with the Portland City Dance Group, and they would have a game. We'd get together and they'd play board games or go to a park or whatnot. And I was like, man, what an excellent excuse to get out of the house. Leave, leave the kids alone for a few hours and actually have some adult communication.
Uh huh.
And it was just again refreshing. It gave me a breather. And so I was like, when I started the store, I wanted to do that for the dad community that attends the store, that shops at the store, and it really does kind of have a sense of community about it. So the dads after hours, I get the same regular core, 4 or 5 guys that show up like clockwork every
Right.
month, and then I get, I don't know, at least every month I get 2 or 3, sometimes more, newer dads.
Sure.
They're like, well, let's check this out. It's a good excuse to go have a beer and meet some new fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifelong connections have been made because of that.
Well, that's fantastic. So it's not really well structured. You just kind of come and hang out. That's Dad Night at Seahorses.
That's BYOB. No kids allowed.
Uh huh.
Doors locked. The store's closed. It's private
Sure.
events after that. As soon as the store is closed, this is a private space.
Yeah, I love how your store. It's more than just a store. It's really become a community, a part of the community, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely a community space as well as a retail store. That's kind of by design. I've always said that the magic happens in the back half of the store, and the front half of the store is just to keep the lights.
There you go.
Um, the back half of the store is why I built the place. The front half of the store is, well, I gotta make it sustainable somehow.
Yeah, you've got to turn a profit somehow. So, where do you see your store going? What plans do you have for it?
I don't want to give away all my secrets, but I do have plans for expansion. I want to get this first one dialed in so that it's turning a profit and a viable business model
Sure.
that's replicable, and then perhaps open a second one, down the road a ways and see how it flies. Seattle's kind of on my radar for that one.
Right. And you're in Portland, Oregon, correct?
I'm in Portland, Oregon, so Seattle's like 3 hours away, which is just far enough away that it wouldn't pull too much from Portland.
Right.
And already got quite a following in Seattle. I sometimes have people from Seattle come down to Portland just to go to Seahorses, buy something, and leave back to Seattle.
Oh wow.
I know there's a call for it up there.
Hmm.
I just need to get this one dialed in first.
And where's your store located within the city? Is it kind of in a trendy area, or did you pick a place that's a little offbeat?
Yeah, D, all of the above. It's a very offbeat, trendy area.
Okay, maybe up and coming.
I don't know if you're familiar with Portland or not, but it's kind of divided into 4 basic quadrants. There's the northeast, the southeast, northwest, and southwest.
I see.
And I'm in this. The store's in southeast. The southeast is home to uh, millennials and hipsters and a younger crowd
Okay.
are all up and down Hawthorne Boulevard. But it's an up and coming neighborhood. I'm right across the street from an organic grocery store,
I see. Cool.
so we got a lot of good foot traffic. It's a very walkable neighborhood, which is really helpful.
Hmm.
You don't have to drive here. It's good because there's lousy parking out
Right.
there. That may be why it's walkable. But yeah, it's a great location. It's a great location. It's a great neighborhood to be in.
Fantastic. So, tell me, why do you think dads being more of an equal parent is becoming more mainstream? Do you think there's some catalyst behind it? Is it just that people are working more and more, or what's really driving all this?
I have no data to support my opinion. It's just what I've seen and what I've spoken with people about. I think it's kind of a backlash from my parents' generation. My parents' generation were baby boomers, right? And they were
Right.
taught you start a career, go to college, get your career, and that's what you do the rest of your life. You don't change from that. You don't waver from that, and you retire from that. That's it. And that was what their parents taught them. And they were coming out of World War II, my parents' parents, and that's what you did. So the baby boomers did that. My generation was like, yeah, but there's so many other things to do. And we miss our dads because they were always working. And I think it's just a general consensus that we don't want to do that to our kids. We enjoy having our kids around, and I don't want to be the absent dad that my dad was.
So it's that concept of each generation wants something better for the next generation, and we're just kind of getting to that point where the next thing is equal time with dad and being around dad just as much as you're around mom and having that influence.
Absolutely. And really, I think what is there that's more valuable than time? You know, you've got you've only got so much of it on this earth, and so make each minute of it count. And I think we in my generation and the millennials generation realize time is the most valuable commodity you can have, the most valuable thing you can give to your kids.
So, do you have any advice that you'd like to give the dads out there?
I would say if I could give one piece of advice, I'd say do what's best for you and your family, and don't be subject to other people's criticism or ridicule. You know, do what's best for you and your family. If dad wants to stay at home, let him stay at home. If both parents go part time. If mom wants to stay at home and dad wants to work, do it that way. It just do what's right for you and your family. What's best.
Yeah, I think that's some fantastic advice because so often we get caught in this trap of, having to follow the stereotypes or having to do it just like everybody else. And your advice of, really do what's best for you and forget what everybody else says, I think is fantastic.
I think that's kind of what me and my wife did. We were like, well, this works for us, so let's do it. I gave up a career as an elevator mechanic to stay at home with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not a job. It was a dangerous job. It wasn't shabby. It paid pretty well, but it wasn't worth it to me to keep it. And it took a lot for me to decide to go back out into the workforce to open up a store like this because the hope was that it was going to change at least my neighborhood and my immediate society.
Right. So was it really scary to make that jump to go from, working to staying at home to opening a store?
Yes.
Then are you finally over that shock now?
No, I'm not. Still terrifying. Every time I have something new that is like, okay, well, we can do this. I'm like, I don't know. Can we do this? Should we do this? I'm always having I'm very confident in the most part, and I'm optimistic about things. But I'm very subject to being like, well, this is just, why am I doing this? This is terrible. Especially when I leave in the morning and kids are like, why do you have to go to work, Daddy? I'm like, I don't know. So,
So do your kids now spend a lot of time at the store?
occasionally. But they're in school now, so I don't, preschool and kindergarten or whatever.
Okay.
Uh, and that was kind of the timing that I was looking for to get back into the workforce. Was when they're at school more frequently, and it's like, okay, I'm a terrible house husband. I'm absolutely lousy at it.
Yeah, it drives you nuts to be home probably.
Absolutely, I've been either in the military or in the construction field or cooking all my life. So to be at home drives me crazy. I'm a little too much of an extrovert to be staying at home.
And what a better way to advertise, right, than have your kids in school and, oh, by the way, I own a dad store.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to my school's PTA auction the end of this month, and Seahorses is sponsoring little something there, so that's kind of cool.
Fantastic.
It gets
Awesome.
me, it gets me in good with the school.
Yeah, there you go. And that's always a good thing there. Anything else you'd like to add to the podcast?
Just remember the dads don't babysit; they're called parents. You know, uh, that's that's the bottom line as far as I'm concerned.
Same here. I really think what you're doing is fantastic, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. I'm excited to see where it goes too. Keep an eye on us. Follow us on Facebook. Uh,
And and tell us. So you're on Facebook, and I'll post the link in the show notes. But tell us what your Twitter handle is if you have one.
uh, Twitter handle is at Seahorses PDX. Then I got Facebook is Seahorses PDX on Facebook, and website is www.seahorsespdx.com.
Fantastic. And if you're in Portland, definitely stop by the store and hang out a little bit.
Yeah, I always got coffee on. It's complimentary coffee or hot cocoa because coffee's too important to sell.
You you can't do anything without coffee.
You can't parent without coffee. I don't know if people have heard of people doing this. I don't know how. So
I've got the same philosophy. Trust me.
I've almost always got coffee on or hot cocoa for the kids or for parents. Wi-Fi, all that.
Well, Don, thanks for coming on the Dad Time podcast, and everybody can go check out his website at seahorsespdx.com, and you're on Twitter at seahorsespdx, and you can also look him up on Facebook, seahorsespdx, and PDX is the airport code there, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on the podcast, and we'll do a follow up with you, in a little bit, and see where the store's gone.
Sounds good, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Make sure you check out Don's store on the internet at www.seahorsespdx.com. You can also find him on Twitter at seahorsespdx, and also on Facebook under seahorsespdx. And don't forget to find the Dad Time podcast on the internet, Facebook, and Twitter. Our website is www.dadtimepodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter at dadtimepodcast. We're also on Facebook at www.facebook.com/dadtimepodcast. We also have a YouTube channel that you can check out. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. These links and all the links from our show are listed in the show notes on iTunes and on YouTube. Thanks for listening to the Dad Time podcast, and we'll see you next time.